Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. It's Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, obviously, and hello to you early birds in the live chat room tonight. We were just talking about going for a long walk off a short pier, or at least maybe not, considering that first video that we were watching, and that is kind of a quote, even though it's just a saying, from Back to the Future, because I always tend to come up with movie quotes accidentally and then realise that I'm actually quoting movies. I just need to get my own personality rather than just saying movie quotes all the time. But anyway, it's when Lorraine tells Biff to take a long walk off a short pier, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then Deborah mentioned about going down a manhole, and I said surely that's more falling than walking down a manhole. And then it's all kicking off in the live chat room. Let me get it up on screen so you guys can see what is going on in there. And we'll see what, hopefully we've got over the climbing, the falling and the walking. But we will see what's going on in there. Who's in there? We've got Scott and Carla and Myra and Shawnee Key. Orlando's in the house. And Orlando did mention that he was going to be lurking tonight. So keep an eye out for Orlando, even though we just saw him there. Tim's in there, and Melissa and Samantha and Kate and Jason and Grumpy Old Bob 56. And Bev's in there, and Billy as well. Hello everybody in that live chat room tonight. And if it's your first live stream, hello to you. Just introduce yourselves to everybody in that live chat room. That's how it works around here. And then we all get to know each other and all tune in on a Tuesday night and a Saturday night. Well, depending on what the time is where you are. It's 12 midnight here in the UK. It's actually 6 minutes past midnight here, to be exactly correct. Let me get the names of my patrons up on screen as well, because they make this all possible in the first place. Thanks to their support over at Wings of Pegasus, well, patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus, but the Wings of Pegasus Patreon page. So thank you guys, you know who you are. And a big shout out to the moderators tonight as well. You'll see their names go through the live chat room in blue, and they have a wrench next to their names as well, so you can spot them. They do stand out, and they have a fantastic way of dealing with the chat room. So thank you guys so much for keeping it all in order and just keep the community going around and just making it a nice place to be. I know that on YouTube there are lots of places that aren't very nice to be, and there seem to be trolls all over the place, but thanks to the moderators, they do such a fantastic job, and the live streams are, on the whole, pretty much unaffected because of the way that the moderators deal with everything. So thank you guys so much for your time and effort during these live streams. And there have been quite a few donations, including, I think maybe one or two from the end of last, it might have been the last live stream. There's at least one that I think we'll look into. I know that Orlando donated right at the end, but then another one came in after that. So it means that I wasn't online when it came through in the super chat. So I will address that. I think we'll just jump into that. Let's have a look at the likes to begin with. We're at 131 already. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. Let me get the live likes up on screen. There's the likeometer. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, it'll be much appreciated if you could. And let me have a little look to see what our goal is for tonight. Is going to be 295 likes. That's what we're going to be aiming for. And there's the proof up on the screen. So if we hit that target, we'll have a pick roulette next week. We are going to be having a pick roulette this week as well. So somebody's going to be going away with a signed Wings of Pegasus pick later in the live stream. So stay tuned for that. And let me just get those donations at least referenced. I will get the donations tab thing up on screen, so you get a lay of the land that 35 to 45% goes to YouTube in the super chat donations, and in the PayPal donations 3 to 5% go to PayPal. So let me just jump into these, because this was from the last live stream, so I have to go to another screen. Also, before we start the live stream, I can see the donations that have happened for this live stream. As soon as we go live, they disappear. And I don't know why YouTube does that, but it's just the way it works now, unfortunately. But I will get through all of them. And it was Tarclasp who has donated $6.99. And this was right at the end of the last live stream. So thank you for that. And the message was, you helped me out a lot with Scarborough Fair. Thanks, mate. So no problem, and maybe that refers to the analysis video where I do demonstrate a little bit, and I tend to do that sometimes in the analysis videos. I get the guitar out and show people how to play it, just in case they have their guitars out at the time of watching the analysis videos. But yeah, that's a fun one to play, Scarborough Fair, so thank you for that donation. And then Orlando came in with a $2 donation as well, so thank you for that, Orlando. And the message was, like number 21, spike the likes with lots of thumbs up. So, great idea from Orlando, who is lurking tonight. And here's the mug. Spike the likes. I've got the old school mug tonight. Here it is. And it's just filled with water tonight. And there's the Wings of Pegasus logo on the other side. You can pick that up in the tray underneath this video, or you can head over to the spring.com store, and a link to that is in the description below if you want to go and check out all of the clothing and mugs and stuff that's going on. Also, wingsofpegasus.com is where you can find the earrings and just standard picks. If you play guitar and you want to stock up on Wings of Pegasus picks, then you can do. And yeah, lots of cool stuff over there, necklaces as well, so check that out if you get a chance. So just to jump in to that super chat window that happened before we went live, Ginny has donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Ginny. And the message is, Phil was told that lefty guitars, or Phil, comma, I was told, maybe that's how I should be reading it, that lefty guitars were much more expensive back in the day. Is that still true? Also, who is your favourite English football player? So thank you for that, Ginny. And back in the day, I think that left-handed guitars probably were a lot more expensive just due to the fact that there weren't as many made and they're all right-handed guitars. And nowadays, even though the cost is going to be the same, what you'll find is that a lot of shops don't stock a lot of left-handed guitars. So it means that they just have lots of right-handed guitars on the wall, and you won't get a left-handed option of every guitar, unfortunately. But obviously with supply and demand, they've got to make the guitars that they think are going to be most in demand, which are right-handed. But with left-handed guitars, if you want one left-handed, then you can request for it to be sent to the shop if you're going to a shop and trying out a guitar. And if they've got a left-handed guitar, you might even be able to show or go and play and take their show guitar that they have in the window, and generally they'll have to order a new one in, especially if it's left-handed, but some people just like to have a new one ordered in anyway, even if they're playing the show model or the one that's in the window. Sometimes, yeah, you just want a new one, and that's just for people playing and just testing it out. Also, you know, they can get a bit damaged, especially if they've been up there on the wall or in the window for quite a while and been, you know, played by a lot of people. So, yes, it's something that I'm sure back in the day it was very difficult to get your hands on a left-handed guitar. And this is why there are quite a lot of old school players who used to play a right-handed guitar but then flip it over, and like Jimi Hendrix, he then changed the strings so that they were in the correct order, they were in the standard order in order to play left-handed but still be able to use all the same shapes as if you were playing right-handed. And then you get other players who just flip it over and don't even change the strings. But those are just players who were around and started when just getting your hands on a left-handed guitar was a mission and a half, to say the least. So they just learned to play, and more often than not, because we're spoiled nowadays with TV and YouTube and being able to see videos of players all the time, it means that we can see when somebody's playing, and when we can see when somebody's left-handed, somebody's right-handed, and the way that they've strung their guitar. Whereas back in the day, listening to things on the radio, they wouldn't have seen the players, they just would have heard the players. So this is why when they flip the guitar over, and then didn't change the string order. They learned to play in exactly the same way that they're hearing, rather than if they were then to see the player and realise that, oh, I'm effectively playing upside down. But everybody just learns their own way, and it just goes to show that if you just follow the music, then you'll find a way of doing it. And it's really effective sometimes when you listen to their playing and then you look at them play and think, wow, they're playing upside down. You'd never notice because of the way that they sound and the techniques that they've mastered. But anyway, thank you for that, Ginny. Oh, my favourite English football player is probably, I would say Harry Kane, but I've said that before because he plays at the moment for Tottenham, but he might be a little bit good for Tottenham, so he might be moving on quite soon. I don't know when the next transfer window comes in January. Then he might move to another club that's a bit bigger than the club that I support. But Harry Kane, maybe Jack Grealish as well. I mean, he's the most expensive player in the Premier League here in the UK because he costs just £100 million in order to go and kick a ball around. So I quite like Jack Grealish because he's skillful and he's somebody that can actually win a game. And this is what was a bit annoying about when England played in the European Championship recently last summer. Jack Grealish wasn't playing all the time, but now he's in the team pretty much most of the time. So, I think for the future, hopefully, our team will be a little bit stronger with him in it. But anyway, that's just, I'm not one of these people that looks at other football teams and has this desire to hate them. I mean, I know that a lot of football fans, their team is their team and they are diehard fans and they hate every other team, especially the other team that they might have a derby with, and they hate that other team. But the way that I see it is that when you support England, everyone comes together to support the country, and they're supporting the same team, even though during the league they'll be shouting at each other in the crowd and, not very nice things, but then they support the same team when England play. So, I'm not really into the... I don't know, I was going to say the violence, but hopefully that doesn't happen very much. It used to, I think, more than it does nowadays, but I'm not really into the die-hard kind of approach of supporting, because I used to play football myself. I am just a football fan before being a Tottenham fan, because Tottenham's my team, but I will watch other teams, like in the Champions League, for example. Tonight, Man United played, and I saw the highlights from that. And whenever an English team are playing in a competition, I always want the English team to win, regardless of which team it is. If the English team is playing Tottenham, another English team that I support, then obviously I want Tottenham to win. But if they're not involved, then I'm not too bothered about wanting other teams to lose because I support Tottenham. But anyway, thank you for that, Ginny. Again, football's something that I can talk about all night, but we will move on. Thank you, Lisa, as well, who has donated $4.99. And the message is, hello, Wingers. I won't be joining you tonight. I'm in Atlanta seeing Hamilton. First live event I've been to since 2019. So thank you for that, Lisa. And this is the whole thing about COVID. I think everyone's not been at live events, definitely not recently or for the last couple of years, unfortunately. So Lisa's getting out there again tonight, and thank you for that donation and for the comment as well, considering that you're not actually in the live stream. But hello to Lisa in the future if you're watching this on catch up, as well as anybody else watching this on catch up. Hello, and you can still hit the thumbs up during catch up. It all helps this live stream to get out there, but for the channel to grow as a whole as well. And I mentioned on Saturday, just a few days ago, that we have passed 189,000 subscribers. So thank you everyone for subscribing and hitting that notification bell and doing all of that cool stuff to help the channel to grow. So thank you, Lisa, for that donation. And this now brings us, I think, up to date. Does it bring us up to date? It might do. Mike's donation is the next one that I can see in the super chat window for $5. So thank you for that, Mike. And the message is, when writing songs, do you have any comment on the power of suggestion? If you write lyrics, they should suggest how to play. So thank you for that, Mike. And I think I would tend to turn it around and look at it the other way. That if I have a particular riff or chord progression, the sound of it, whether it's minor based or whether it's major based, determines what the lyrical content's going to be, and whether it's going to be more of a happy song or a sad song, or just putting in lyrical content that's maybe a bit deeper than, if you're in a major key and you want to do something that's a bit uplifting, or maybe you want to have a hint of darkness to your lyrical content if you're writing something that's going to be in the minor key. So yeah, I tend to kind of think of it the other way around. I mean, if you've got your lyrical content down, finished, and you know what you want the song to be about, and it is something that's quite dark, then that would definitely determine the chords that you're playing, because you won't be doing really happy, major sounding progressions the whole time, because it'll be a bit of a conflict with that lyrical content. Unless it's country music, because, as I've mentioned in a lot of analysis videos, that with country music, they just had this really interesting mix of having your major chord shapes and, having your A and your D and your E, and then throwing in some really deep and kind of dark. I mean, a lot of it is about relationships going bad and all that kind of stuff, but it's over the top of happy sounding chords. So you get that. I mean, that's the exception to the rule when you're listening to country music. Sometimes you're kind of tapping your foot and you're getting along to it, or getting into it, singing along with it, but not necessarily knowing or really studying the lyrical content. And then you look at it and think, oh wow, this song's the exact opposite in terms of what I thought it was about when I was singing along with it, because it sounded so happy. But I quite like that. I quite like the fact that it's not really obvious, and it makes it even more interesting to look into those songs a little bit more deeply and get an appreciation for the songwriting and the lyrical content. So thank you for that, Mike. And Tim has donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Tim. And that's a straight up donation without a message. So thank you for that. And Dan has donated $5 as well. Thank you for this, Dan. The message is, hi Phil, subject is covers, as in song covers. Why do you think people so like covers? They do. Do you like getting suggestions for a cover? So thank you for that, Dan. And I think people like covers because they know the song, so they'll have a history with that song. It might remind them of something, and they like to hear a different version of that song because they already know it. It's familiar. Whereas when you're hearing an original for the first time, there's no story with that. You've got no emotions that you can attribute to that song. So you're literally just clean slate. You're just a blank page. You don't know what to think about something that you haven't heard before. You just make all of your judgments and assessments on what you're hearing live. And I mean, the reason that covers are popular for the listener is because of that. The reason that covers are popular when you're in a band, it's just opening the door to get an audience in the first place. Every band since the beginning of time have started playing covers, and that got their foot in the door to get people into the venue, and then they started dotting in maybe one or two originals in their set of cover songs. And I mean, this is something that I've mentioned about the Beatles, the fact that when they started playing, most of their set was covers, and people were coming in to hear the songs that they'd already heard on the radio and they already liked. So you are preaching to the converted. You're not hitting the crowd with 10 original songs that they've never heard before, because they can't really get into those because they don't have that emotional connection to them yet. So this is why, putting a bit of a modern twist on it, I've said about the copyrights on YouTube and some artists who block covers of their songs on YouTube. So it means that nowadays, in 2021, the way that artists and bands can get their foot in the door is by performing covers. And it just so happens that rather than going down to a venue and playing covers there, they can play covers on the internet, because that's where you can find your audience. And bands and artists that block people from doing covers of their songs, it means that they're pretty much denying this generation's artists and bands of the luxury that they had when they were younger, because police weren't going around to every single venue that people were playing at back in the 1960s and 1970s saying, you can't play that song, I'm going to block you and turn off the mixer and tell everyone to get out of the venue because you played that song that you don't own. So back in the day, it was a lot easier to play a set full of covers to a crowd and get away with it, because it wasn't really being policed. Whereas nowadays on the internet, it is so policed that everything has been registered, even the audio files, and looking through titles of videos, so that if there's ever a title of a song that is being covered, the record label, it will get alerted and they'll potentially block it if that is the decision that they want to make. So I think, yeah, you can say that nowadays it's easier to find an audience because of the internet, but it's harder to play covers. Back in the day, it was a lot easier to just play what you wanted and you could get away with it. But anyway, let's not get too deeply into that. But that's why covers are so popular with not only listeners, but with bands and artists themselves, is because you can play something that is guaranteed to get you an audience. And not a lot of people go out to watch original music and just take a gamble that what they're going to hear is good. More often than not, you go to watch an original gig and it's not very good because the venue aren't really policing the bands that are coming in, and they haven't checked out the bands previously. They might have checked out a demo, which might sound great, but then the band turn up and they're not good live. They just haven't rehearsed, or they're not very professional, and you're then putting that onto a crowd that might have turned up. And of course, if you go and watch a band that are just really bad and you feel like you've wasted your time, then you're not going to go out and watch another original band. So it is unfortunately something that has fallen by the wayside, but nowadays with COVID anyway, being on the internet and getting your music out there that way is pretty much the most efficient way to do it. Anyway, thank you for that donation, Dan. And in terms of getting suggestions for covers, yes, I don't mind getting suggestions. I know a lot of people want particular songs that they want to listen to, and I do make a note of them. Whether I will get round to it in the near future, I do not know. It all depends on the channel, how big things get. Now, whether I'm going to actually be able to get help in different areas to maybe free up some time, but we will see. But everything seems to be going well at the moment, so I'll keep on pushing forward with everything as it is, and we'll see what happens and see where we end up. But anyway, thank you for that, Dan. And Kate has donated $20 as well. Thank you for that, Kate. And the message is, as I've said before, I love how you talk about anything and everything. So thank you for that, Kate. And yeah, a little bit of football tonight, a little bit of copyright and covers and bands and things. In terms of a hair update, we haven't had one of those for a while. You can see that I'm back to the centre parting because the hair's too long, and I've got a haircut tomorrow, so I'll be back to having the familiar fringe setup tomorrow, and yeah, we'll see what happens then. I am going to be doing a video tomorrow night, so look out for that if my hairdresser does turn up. Interestingly, I totally forgot that my haircut should have been last week, but because my hairdresser is somewhat unreliable, she sent me a message saying, oh, apologies for today, I totally forgot that I was supposed to cut your hair. And then I said, oh, it's okay, I totally forgot that you're supposed to be coming to cut my hair anyway. So it was a win-win. So that's going to be happening tomorrow. Anyway, thank you, Kate, for that donation. And let me just jump into the PayPal window, because I know that there was a donation. There have been a few donations that have come in, so thank you guys for those. And I'm just going to scroll down. I know that there was, I think, a CD order before I went live, but also there was a donation that came through from Amy. So thank you for that, Amy. And that was for £5 just before we went live. And let me have a look. Actually, that was late last night. So thank you for that. And I just want to jump into the PayPal window. I get things a little bit more up to date. And the first one for the live stream was Steve. So thank you for that. Let me get this up on screen so you guys can see it as well. And there is Steve's donation that was scrolled down for £5. Thank you, Steve. The message here is, can you demonstrate Peter Townshend's windmill technique that he nicked from Keith Richards? Can you explain how to use it and other grandiose stage moves? So thank you for that, Steve. And in terms of, I mean, I won't be able to fit it all in screen because it's pretty easy to do. I think everybody, when they start playing guitar, does the windmill technique, and all you do is exactly the same as you normally do when you strike the strings, but just hold the guitar a little bit further out to the left, keep your arms straight, and throw your, I mean, it's just a windmill, so just keep your arms straight, and all you got to do is make sure you hit the strings as you come down, and then just keep on doing it, and you've got a windmill. So I'd say the windmill's probably one of the easiest show-off techniques there is. It's just like an exaggerated way of strumming the guitar. In terms of the other things that are used to show off, you've got playing with your teeth, and I think that playing with your teeth is something that you have to have the right genetics to do, because if your teeth are flat or if they're shaped in a particular way where they don't stick out, or you haven't got as much as, I guess, an overbite. If you've got an underbite, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So yeah, you need to have teeth that do kind of stick out quite a lot, and you can actually get some purchase on the strings. When I was younger, I tried it, but I think my teeth are too flat. I physically can't get my teeth to the strings. So again, after I did the windmill, the next thing was to try playing with your teeth. So it's not something that I've got the genetics for, unfortunately. I think maybe my teeth are just too close together in terms of the top section and the bottom section. They do overlap. Obviously, my front teeth go over my bottom teeth, but not by very far. They're quite efficient in terms of the way they overlap. So it means that I can't really get too much purchase on the strings. So, yeah, I'm not too bothered about that, playing with my teeth, because I know that Hendrix did it, but I think, yeah, for me, Hendrix did it, and I mean, back in the day, in the 60s and everything, it was really entertaining, and it's good fun. It's all part of the showmanship, but for me, I don't feel that I need to do that when I'm playing live. But let me think. Oh, you've got Stevie Ray Vaughan as well, who put the guitar behind his back and played. Now, when you're doing that, you have to make sure that you've got enough clearance behind your back. So you've got to be clear of your back and your legs to make sure that you don't rest on them or rest on the strings, because if you rest on them, it's going to make them muted. So you're not going to hear what you're playing behind your back. So that's probably a little bit more awkward, because you've got to physically push the guitar away from you while playing. So yeah, it's a little bit more tricky. You've got playing behind your head as well, and I've mentioned before that in terms of the technique and the approach to playing behind your head, it's just exactly the same as you would normally play, but it feels a little bit more awkward, because you've got to just stretch your left hand around a little bit more, because you're holding the guitar behind your neck and having to stretch up. So, but all the technique's the same, so you might be able to play with the guitar behind your head. That's another one of those things that probably looks really impressive, but you can still do it relatively easily. All your techniques you won't have to change in order to play behind your head. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Pretty much that's it. I mean, you pop the guitar up onto your leg sometimes, and I'd say that's more of a standard show-off move. A lot of people do that. I've probably done that before, just having my foot on a fold-back speaker at the front of the stage and just popped it up in order to have access to the fretboard. And when it's still, it's obviously going to be easier to play. That's obviously a big plus to playing with it up on your leg. But also, I mentioned that in the last live stream about Slash and when he does that, so we won't get into all of that again. Just trying to think of any other show-off things, but I can't think of anything at the moment. But anyway, Steve, thank you for that donation and the message as well. I'm just going to scroll up because Michelle has donated £10. Thank you for that, Michelle. And I'm just going to scroll down. The message is celebrating the life and legacy of the Electric Warrior, Mark Bolan. And that's the 30th 9th 47 to 16th 9th 77. Rock in Paradise with a rock horn, some rock horns in there. Thank you for that, Michelle. And there is a video here somewhere on the channel on Mark, if you guys want to check that out independently. Definitely worth a view, in my opinion, to check out a bit of Mark Bolan. But thank you for that, Michelle. And Laura has donated £6.90. Thank you for that, Laura. The message is, Phil, who did the video while you were on that long walk? So thank you for that, Laura. And I set up the video in, well, the camera on a tripod in the back of my dad's car. And I just told him to drive slowly and I'll just walk outside. So I had to make sure that obviously the camera in the back was pretty secure, and then I just undid the window because you don't want to be looking through a window because that would just ruin the effect, and that was it. He just kind of drove past and I walked along. Obviously doing it on the roads, I had to make sure that there was no traffic coming so that we could do a short section of walking, and then we just keep on going to different locations and just record as much walking as possible, and then I'd cut it all together to get lots of different places. So yeah, it took probably I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours of walking just to get it all together, and it was super hot that day as well, which I've mentioned before. But thank you for that, Laura. So that video is showcasing my dad's clutch control. Actually, no, his car is automatic, so it's not even impressive. You just gradually held that accelerator down, but having to keep it smooth, I guess, is difficult, and hopefully it does have the effect of almost not looking like it's in the back of a car. So fingers crossed I've got away with it. And the fact that maybe people don't, or Laura, if you didn't know how I did that, maybe I did get away with it. So thank you for that, Laura. And just scrolling up because Linda has donated £20.70. Thank you for that, Linda. And that is a straight up donation without a message. And Deborah has donated £6.90. Thank you for that, Deborah. The message is, hi Phil, why do soccer players who get the smallest hit fall to the ground and roll around like they are in total agony? Is that my imagination? So thank you for that. And it's definitely not your imagination. This is something that, unfortunately for soccer players, football players, as we call them in this country, I don't know why. That's the simple answer. I don't know why when they do take a very light touch. The only reason for doing it is because they've done it before and other players have done it before, and then the referee has given them a penalty, or he's given them something to make it advantageous for them to do that in the first place. And for example, pretending that you've been hit in the face and then the other player gets a red card. So it means that you now get to play against the other team for the whole match, for the rest of the match, with 11 players, and they've only got 10 players. So it means that you're much more likely to win. So I think this is why a lot of players pretend that they're hurt and fake that they're hurt, is because the referees have made it that way, that they have given decisions where it's obvious that they shouldn't be rolling around, but the players will try and get everything that they can. I think nowadays with football, they've brought in VAR, which is the video assistant referee, I think it's called. I'm not sure, it might be review. But anyway, they've got a referee in a different room who looks at all of the footage and slows it down and then tells the referee on the pitch whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision. But I think that they should have a look at some of the people who are faking injury and say, if they are faking, then they should get a yellow card. And if you get 2 yellow cards, then you're off. You get a red card. Because it will make people stop faking. And sometimes, this is what's so stupid, is it goes so far that some players are through on goal. It means they've got a chance to score a goal, which is the whole point of the game, and they might feel a little bit of contact from the defender, so then they fall over. when they could have scored. And when they fall over, they're falling over to try and get a penalty and a red card for the opponent. But sometimes the opponent doesn't get a red card. But they're trying to get a penalty to try and then score a goal. But they could have scored a goal in the first place. So sometimes the decisions that players make just, defy logic. You think, why not just put the ball in the goal now rather than pretending to be fouled and get a penalty and then potentially miss the penalty and not score? So there's, I think, a lot of situations where a lot of players have been playing the game since they're 5 or 6 years of age, but they get very good at the motor skills of playing the game, but they're not necessarily that intelligent in order to make decisions on the pitch. It's why they need a lot of management by the manager to tell them what to do. Whereas I think the top players not only have been playing that amount of time, but they've got the common sense and they are intelligent themselves. So they don't need to be told by the manager what they need to do. They can figure it out themselves, and generally they can beat the other players because they are more efficient at thinking as well as having the motor skills to then put what they're thinking into action. So this is it. Some players that you watch, you think, what are you doing? And I know, because I played football at quite a high level, there are professional footballers that I watch that I don't know why they're making the decisions they are. And I would, as a manager, it would probably just make me go insane, because I've played myself and I would know the percentages of the decisions that you can make in a particular scenario, and they always tend to pick the decision that is just the worst, and you think, that is just such a stupid thing to do in that situation. But anyway, let's move on from football. As I said, I could talk about it for years, but thank you for that, Deborah. And just scrolling up, Orlando's donated 70 pence. Thank you for that, Orlando. The message is, are you of the opinion that a true artist does not sell out and do things like write or work in commercials or TV shows? My opinion is every artist have to eat and pay bills. So thank you for that, Orlando. And this is a difficult one, because if it's the choice between you physically can't buy food and put food on the table, or drink water, or put a roof over your head, then everybody has to work. And whether that be making music that is popular but not your own style of things that you like to do, then you've got to make money in the first place, and that's the most important thing. You have to be able to survive, because if you die, then you won't be able to chase your dreams in the future. If you run out of eating food or you don't have a shelter, that's the problem. So I'd say that there are cases where obviously you have to do whatever you can do to make money. That's the most important thing. It's the cases where you might have had a very successful artist who you think, well, if they have saved their money, they are now you're gonna be able to afford a roof over your head and food probably for the rest of your life. But I think it's the artists who then start changing their sound and their music once they've already got their fan base, because it then alienates their fan base, and it means that more often than not they lose fans because of changing the sound. And it might be the case that it then opens it up to a wider market. And an example of that did undoubtedly work would be Fleetwood Mac, and from their really early blues roots and being very much focused on guitar, lead guitar, then turning into a more commercial outfit, but then went on to be very, very successful. But I know that there are a lot of Fleetwood Mac fans from the really early years who totally lost interest in that change that they went through. So it is something that, everybody's different in terms of not only people listening to music, but the artists themselves. And I think it's always good to stick to doing stuff that you enjoy. I think that's the most important thing. If you can do what you enjoy and you make enough money to put food on the table, and then, I think the problem with selling out is people who see artists changing their sound and changing what they're doing to try and make more money when they've already got enough money. I think that, if you are comfortable and you don't have to worry about making more money, then don't be greedy. I think it's the greedy part that people have got a problem with, where the original sound already has enough fans. You don't need to start, chasing the Yankee dollar, as we do say that here. It is an expression that is used in The Office, a comedy show that we have here that I think went over to the USA as well. But yeah, chasing the Yankee dollar, I think that's what people don't like, especially when it's to do with art. Just do your art, be who you are, because you've already attracted a fan base, and if you just enjoy what you're doing, then just produce the music you want to produce. You can also argue that some artists enjoy changing their sound and giving themselves different challenges. So yeah, there's an argument for that as well. But generally, the fans of the music are part of that journey, and they are with the artist and supporting them from the beginning onwards. So they get to see the end, or the duration, and the journey as it evolves and as it unfolds. So thank you for that, Orlando. And let me just mention that, and do things like write or work in TVs or in commercials or TV shows. Oh, this was in terms of artists, musicians, then doing music for TV shows and all that kind of stuff. I think that's absolutely fine. It's obviously down to the artist whether the show that it might be featured on is something that they want their music attributed with. I think that is something that's going to be different for every artist. I know that myself, I wouldn't want my music associated with particular shows that won't be to my taste, or I think if it's offensive, whatever the show is, and they want to use one of my songs, I think artistically, even if I know that you'd get royalties and I'd receive royalties for it, I would rather not do that. And I'd rather just have my music associated with things that I agree with on a personal level, and with my own, I guess, values, my own personal values. I would just, follow it in that way. But every artist is different. I know that some artists maybe just want the money, but I've mentioned on this channel as well about featuring products and all that kind of stuff. Because of the amount of subscribers that I have on the channel, I do get contacted regularly to feature this and that and promote this product and push that product on my channel. But I don't think it's something that is relevant for my channel. And yeah, the only thing that I've ever done is when Fender were kind enough to endorse me and send me a guitar. Not only send me a guitar, but have me down to the Fender showroom in London, and that was all great. And because of that, I did a review on their guitar, and the one that they sent me for free. So, I mean, with that kind of thing, because I've been playing Fenders my whole life, so I am a fan of Fender anyway. Like I said, if it ties in with my own personal beliefs and my values, Fenders, I think, are great guitars. So, yeah, I didn't have a problem with doing that at all. I was actually honoured that they would even consider, endorsing me and having me play one of their guitars and give me a guitar that they asked me what colour I wanted it in, all that stuff. So that was amazing. But in terms of doing like the main thing is mobile games about, fantasy games of, it's kind of like Game of Thrones type games. To do that on my channel before an analysis video, I just think, it'll be totally random and it just wouldn't suit. And even though, they offer you upfront money to do it, I think it's just not something that sits well with my channel. I'd rather just introduce the video, have my little Wings of Pegasus thing that shows up, and then get into the video. So that's how I'm going to be doing things in the future. And I won't be taking money for those kinds of things. But anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. And I'm just going to scroll up. It's 10 to 1 already in the morning. How's that happened? I'm going to blame talking about football because I've probably got a little bit carried away with that. But anyway, we're at 248 likes. So thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up. We've probably got about 25 minutes left of the live stream. Thank you as well. I haven't even mentioned the cover video for tonight was You Know My Name. And I'm going to have to try and look on my software as to which other one was requested. I think it was Miles Away by Winger. Unfortunately, on my software, it's not very clear as to which two were there because I've got everything up in front of me. So it was Miles Away or You Know My Name. And I think the vote at the moment is 56% for You Know My Name. So that is the one that we're probably going to be having a listening to very soon. Like I said, we have got to pick Roulette tonight as well. So we're going to be jumping into that relatively soon. No pictures for tonight. So we have a little bit of extra time that I've probably just already used up talking about football and such like, but thank you guys for the donations, and I think it's the very kind donations that have filled up a lot of the time. And just looking at the vote, it's just about to go through, and yeah, 56% was You Know My Name. So we're going to be taking a look at that, and 196 of you voted on that, so thank you guys for clicking on that, and also for hitting that thumbs up as well. Click on that thumbs up if you haven't yet. We're aiming for 295. We're at 257 at the moment, which means we're looking for 38 people. Is that correct? I do not know. I'm gonna say 38 or 30. It's 33. I'm going to bail from... Right, it's 260. I can work that out. It's 35. So it must have been 37 before. I think I was working out from 290, but it is 295, which means it's 35. It's a little bit easier to work out, so I kind of busked my way through that and maybe got away with it. So 35 more people we're looking for in that live chat room to hit that thumbs up. So if you are just joining in and you want to hit that thumbs up, that would be fantastic. Thank you everyone who has done that so far. And Marge has donated £1.38, so thank you for that, Marge. And I'm just going to make sure that I don't miss anybody out here. Francis has donated £10.35. Thank you for that, Francis. And there's another one above this. Lucy has donated £5. Thank you for that, Lucy. And the message is, howdy Phil, fellow wingers and new wingers, spike the lights. When I hear music, I fear no danger. I am invulnerable. I see no foe. I am related to the earliest times and to the latest. Quote by Henri David Thoreau, or Thoreau, depending on the pronunciation. But thank you for that, Lucy, for that quote as well. And Sue has donated £20. Thank you so much for that, Sue. And that is a straight up donation as well. So I think we're pretty much up to date now in the super chat window. One has popped in there, and it's Francis for $5. So thank you again. The message is chocolate cupcakes for all in the chat room. Did you get my $15 donation from PayPal? So thank you for that. And yes, I did. I think, yeah, with the PayPal, I do try and get through them. And there are a lot that have come in, so thank you guys for that. And I'm just wondering if you're relating to the one that I have just read out. It just took me a little bit of time to get there, but I did get that. And hopefully I just said that when I got through those ones. But yes, that was the £10 donation that was over on PayPal. Thank you for that, Francis. And the $5 donation in the super chat window. So let's jump into this cover, and then we'll get into the pick roulette for tonight. Keep on hitting that thumbs up if you haven't used your thumbs up token yet. We're now looking for 20 more people before the end of the live stream, and we've probably got about 22 minutes, something like that, 23 minutes before the end of the live stream. So we will see how we get on. And it was this cover of You Know My Name, and this is a very rare occasion when I'm looking smart. I had my suit on here, and I don't even know where my suit is at the moment, so that gives you an idea how many times I've worn it. I think I wore it to my sister's wedding and then this video. So there you go, the 2 times I've worn a suit. But here it is. I hope you enjoy it, and it's featuring Kent Johnson on violin as well. So check this out. Rock!
If you take a life, do you know what you give? Odds are you won't like what it is. When the storm arrives, would you be seen with me by the merciless eyes of deceit? I've seen angels fall from blinding heights, but you yourself are nothing so divine. Just next in line, arm yourself because no one else here will save you. The odds will betray you, and I will replace you. Can't deny the prize, it may never fulfill you. It longs to kill you. Are you willing to die? The coldest blood runs through my veins. You know my name. If you come inside, things will not be the same. When you return to the night, if you think you've won, you never saw me change the game that we have been playing. I've seen this diamond cut through heart of man. Then you yourself, but if you must pretend, you may meet your end. Harm yourself because no one else here will save you. The odds will betray you, and I will replace you. Can't deny the prize, it may never fulfill you. And it longs to kill you. Are you willing to die? The coldest blood runs through my veins. You know my name. 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 You know my name.
And there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. My cover of, as I have said on previous live streams, probably my favourite Bond theme that there is, and that's probably just because of Chris's voice. Just an amazing vocalist he was, and so expressive, especially on that song as well. One of those that I really enjoy listening to. Listen to it multiple times sometimes. When I watch Casino Royale, I just watch the opening credits like just over and over again, because yeah, I really enjoy that. Also, they did start, I don't know what year this started, probably putting a lot more effort not only into the opening credits. I know that Bond movies have always put a lot of effort into the start of the film, but really getting quite technical with it, and at the end of movies. So you start seeing these amazing sequences where normally you just have the names that go up the screen at the end, but nowadays the names are all part of, it's almost like watching a whole nother movie, just the technical side of all of that effects that they must add, or all of those effects they must add at the end. Yeah, anyway, I mean, as a video editor myself, in a very basic way, I look at some of these credit sequences and think, wow, how much effort have they put into this? But yeah, I mean, I love Casino Royale, the film, as well, and just the whole approach of it. Also, just the storyline of the movie, and the fact that it's a lot less tongue-in-cheek, and I do like a movie that's a little bit more serious than being too jokey. I have said about the old Bond movies are very tongue-in-cheek, and the opening sequences were mostly just silhouettes of naked women jumping around. That's pretty much what you get from the old school Bond movies. So yeah, it has moved on a little bit since then. But I did say on a previous live stream about how the old Bond movies are movies that you can have on in the background when you're just going about answering emails or something, and it's not particularly deep. You don't really have to follow. You just know that there's Bond and there's some guy who's setting up something that has to be taken down, like some kind of organization or a nuclear warhead or something, and that's pretty much it. And then you just don't have to concentrate too much on it. But I like that about Casino Royale. There's a little bit more depth in the storyline as well. But anyway, we will get back into the live stream, and again I can start talking about movies for about 5 years as well. But thank you Carl, who has donated $5, so thank you for that. And the message is, cross the pond, not giving up on that dream. Big festival this weekend in Asbury Park. This weekend, US is opening up some to live music again. So thank you for that, Carl. And this is the thing that now in the UK, we've had a few festivals, I think. Obviously, the festivals are outside, so it means that it doesn't pose as much threat as everyone getting together indoors. But yeah, over in the USA, good to hear that places are opening up to live music. And I think, yeah, the festivals are going to be the first places that can happen. But thank you for that, Cross the Pond, as well, the funds for that. And certainly, I'm sure that something will happen in the future, especially with COVID. It's going to take a little bit of time. But at some point, there's going to be something that happens. I mean, it's going to be unavoidable. If we keep on growing and get more and more subscribers, then there's going to be the potential to have a big enough audience to maybe do something either in the UK or in the USA in order for us to get together. It might be the case that it would have to be in a location that a lot of people can access, but I mean the USA is pretty big, so that's the advantage of the UK. It is a lot smaller, so pretty much most of people that live in England, for example, can travel maybe 2 or 3 hours in a car to get to a particular place, just a one-off journey, and you can have your event and people can maybe stay there or stay in a hotel, and then you can make the travel back to your home, which is, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 hours drive, but it's not ridiculous. Whereas over in the USA, there are some ridiculous drives that you could go on across the whole of the USA. You'll be driving probably for the rest of your life. So yeah, we will see what happens in the future, but it's something that I mentioned to Linda Z. We were exchanging messages over on Patreon, and I said that I'm sure an event will happen at some point in the future. And the nature of the channel and the videos that I do, it means that I do connect with a lot of musicians and artists that I have featured on the channel. So there are a lot of bridges out there, and it might be the case that we can do something over in the USA and maybe get together with some of the artists that have been featured on the channel, and especially if it's local to where they are. So that could be an idea. I've already thrown these ideas out there on a live stream. I think it would be cool to either have something that includes live music, or maybe includes like the live analysis videos that I had to stop on YouTube because of the change in the copyrights and the fact that you could get a copyright strike live. I didn't want to risk that, so it might be the case that we get an artist involved and do like a live analysis. I think that would be a really cool thing to do with the artist there. Just like have a sofa, set it up, get a big screen there, a projector, go through a performance, and both have guitars plugged in, and take questions from you guys, maybe towards the artist, asking them about their playing, and I think it could be a really interesting format to go through. So yeah, we will see, but I think in the future I see, or at least I think something will happen. It's just that it'll take a bit of organisation, obviously with COVID. Like here in the UK, we've got different parameters, not only for the UK, but obviously going to foreign countries is all up in the air at the moment. It hasn't really been sorted out. But yeah, hopefully something will happen in the future. Of course, if anything is going to happen, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible, so we can start organising our diaries and you can start to organise how to get to a particular location, a particular time. But yeah, I think that could be very good to all get together and do something in that vein. But anyway, thank you for that, Carl. And let's jump into the pick roulette for tonight, because it's already 3 minutes past 1 in the morning. I'm just looking. It looks like we are at 314 likes. So thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up. It means we are going to have a pick roulette next week. So let's jump into tonight's pick roulette so that we can then start getting your guys and girls names on the pick roulette wheel for next week. So let's jump into this. Good luck everybody. And I'm going to have to do another random top tip for tonight to see who is definitely probably not going to win. But I'll do that anyway and see you guys in a second. Rock! So let's get the pick roulette wheel up on screen, and I'm just having a little look down. Weeping Scorpion, whoever that is. What a memorable username. Weeping Scorpion. So that is my top tip for tonight's pick roulette. So commiserations already to you, whoever you may be, because I have a 0% record of picking the winner. So if you haven't seen one of these before, we're going to give the wheel a shuffle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and you can see here that we've got the t-shirt roulette going round. These are marked by the hearts, so you might be able to see the hearts that show those. If we land on one of those, then we have another pick roulette wheel for the t-shirts, and that's a signed t-shirt with the Bleach logo on from Carla. So let's give this wheel a spin and see who's going to win. And it's 94 entries tonight, so quite a lot of names on there. A 1 in 94 chance for Weeping Scorpion. I think if I remember correctly, I think I might have forgotten the username already, but Weeping Scorpion, let me have a little look to see if you're coming around, and it doesn't look like you are. And we're slowing down here. It looks like it's going to be Kathy, or it's going to be Mary. It's going as far as Brooke. And is it going to get as far as Steve? No, it's not. So close to Steve, but it is Brooke who has won tonight's pick roulette. So congratulations to you, Brooke. And if you could let yourself be known in the live chat room, that would be fantastic, so that Carla can organise everything with you in order to send you the signed Wings of Pegasus pick. So congratulations to Brooke, and commiserations to everybody else, and Weeping Scorpion as well, if that was... Oh, I can see Weeping Scorpion in the live chat room, so that was correct, and I'm sorry for picking you, but that's just the way it goes. I just pick a random name and that person never wins. But Brooke is the winner tonight. Commiserations to everybody else who didn't win tonight as well. But as I always say, there's always next week. And if you want to double your chances of winning, make sure you tune in on Tuesday nights as well as Saturday nights. So Saturday night, because we're on Tuesday night tonight, if you want to tune in on Saturday night, then you can double your chances of winning, because we have a pick roulette on Saturday nights. So congratulations again to Brooke. Let me remove everything from the screen and just come back to me. Here we are. So another lucky winner for tonight, and because we have another pick roulette next week now, you can type in the live chat room. Going to tag Carla Murray. I'm just going to type the example here, and I was typing. Sometimes this happens when you think you've selected the text box and you start typing, and on the keyboard there are various shortcuts for lots of different things on the screen that you're looking at. So I'm typing all of these different letters, and I'm holding on, shift to do the @ symbol, but I haven't selected. So now I've loaded up stream health and the warnings, and the stream is healthy and no data. So let's now select it and type @Carla, and then Carla Murray's name comes up. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to type in I agree! ! So there's my example. I always say that you guys will pretty much get the gist of it because of the comments that are going through the live chat room at the moment. So just copy what everybody else is doing in order to get your name on the Pick Roulette next week. And you have to be tuned in during the Pick Roulette in order to win. If your name comes up and then Carla can't organise it with you on the live stream in order to get that off to you, then it's not possible. So make sure that you are tuned in. There's nothing worse than winning, but then not getting the pick and not being able to have it sent to you because you haven't seen that you've won, and yeah, it's all a bit of a nightmare. But congratulations to Brooke for this week, and it might be you next week. Or if you tune in on Saturday and you were tuned in last Saturday, then it might be you this Saturday. You never know. So let me have a little look over on Patreon to see what we had requested, because I'm going to leave you guys a little bit more time to type I agree to get your name on that wheel next week. And let me scroll down to see what kind of requests we've had over on Patreon. And we've had the Miles Away cover that was suggested by Melissa. Thank you for that. That's the one that didn't win tonight, unfortunately. But thank you for those. Lynn has requested Greed. So thank you for that. I tell you what, we might look at Greed purely because of Lynn's request, but because it includes Griff as well. And Griff was on the channel on Saturday night's live stream because he had a look at his new single they did with his brother James, and that's called Cleopatra, by the way. I'm sure you guys who are tuned in on Saturday check that out. We had a listen to that, even though the video didn't work, but then we got it to work in the end. But that was Griff. And if I choose the video here, hopefully this is going to be the one with the lyrics on. I know that there's a live version of Greed as well, but anyway, Griff will be hopefully in the background somewhere, so look out for him. So we'll be able to see Griff, who was with us on Saturday night. So let's play this, and it gives you a little bit more time to type I agree and tag Carla Murray, type I agree in order to get your name on next week's Pick Roulette. And I'll see you guys after this. Rock! And Griff's on the left of the screen. On that very first screen on the live performance, look to the left. And yes, this is the video, so look out for him. Anyway, back to the video. I'll see you after. Rock!
Now the fire's burning low. Seize the ball.
And there we have it. That was my song called Greed, and I hope you're looking out for Griff there on the left-hand side. And you can pick up that song over at my website, which is wingsofpegasus.com, surprisingly. And if you want to go straight to the music section, you can do wingsofpegasus.com/music. And you'll be able to find all of the songs there. You can get my album called Persistence if you so wish, but you can get the songs individually there as well. Also, they're on iTunes and Amazon, but it's better for me if you go to my website because then I don't have to give away a percentage to those other sites. So, we are drawing to a close now with this live stream. We have again hit that likes goal, so thank you so much, guys, for hitting that thumbs up and getting us to that target. If you are watching this on catch up, you can still hit that thumbs up. It really does help everything to grow, but the likes, the interaction, I think it just has a huge impact on these live streams as well. So thank you guys just for turning up and spending a little bit of time with me on a Tuesday night and a Saturday night. And the time certainly does go very quickly, but it's 1:15 here in the morning here in the UK. So we're going to have to be wrapping things up. And let's have a final look into the live chat room. See who's in that. Carl's still in there, and Tom G as well, and Terry and Suzanne and Barbara and Garden Insight and Jason and Kevin as well. And Kevin says, stay safe, Phil, and all the wingers. So thank you for that. Kevin and Carla says, what a great busy live stream. I think that's it. So thank you for moderating, Carla, and also again, we're going to have a big shout out to the moderators and Carla for everything that she does during the live streams, but during the week as well with the pick roulette, keeping that all organized, but also to Neil and Laurie who are in that live chat room moderating as well, keeping everything under control. So thank you guys so much for that. And just before we finish, I'm just going to pop into the super chat window first, and then we've got a PayPal just to finish off with. Orlando has donated $2. Thank you for that, Orlando. The message is favourite Bond, Connery, Moore, or Craig? That's like just asking me the same question, or giving me the same answer, but to choose between them, because I really like Sean Connery's Bond. I really like Roger Moore's Bond. I really like Daniel Craig's Bond. So I think in terms of the movies that I would watch more seriously, obviously Daniel Craig is my favourite, but then I can't really choose between Roger Moore and Sean Connery. I think they both did a fantastic Bond. So yeah, I can't choose between them. Unfortunately, I am just a James Bond fan, pretty much regardless of who's playing the lead role. I would say that there are maybe one or two Bond movies that weren't played by Connery, Moore or Craig, and I'm not as into those movies, so I guess I am a little bit biased towards those three. And yeah, in terms of the other people who play them, I don't know who it is. I don't know why. A name's popped into my head, but it could be a totally random name. So I'm not even going to attempt. Actually, what I'm gonna do is, I don't know if this is going to crash my software or not. I'm going to attempt to try and type this in to Google to see if my brain's just thrown in a random name or whether it was actually a person. And my mind threw up Richard Lazenby. And I don't know why my brain sometimes does this. And it says, Richard Lazenby, James Bond. So that was his name. That was another actor who's played James Bond. And I don't know, it's totally weird. Some of the stuff that I have in my head, I don't even know that I know who Richard Lazenby. I know when I was thinking about James Bond and another person who played James Bond that I haven't watched as much. And my brain just threw in, Richard Lazenby. So that was the name. And because I didn't know him, obviously I did know him, but I didn't know that I knew him. So I didn't know his name. So sometimes this happens, just a name will pop into my head that is, it turns out, relevant to James Bond. And that was the name of the actor or another actor who has played James Bond, but I don't watch as much as Connery, and yeah, Moore or Daniel Craig. So there you go. I've learned something that I already knew that I didn't know I knew. So thank you for that, Mr. Brain. Anyway, let's move on. And that's actually, we'll end on that high. And there's nothing like, just finding that you know stuff you don't know that you know. But anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. As I said, I can't get between those. And also, Timothy Dalton also played Bond. So thank you for that, Samantha. And that is a name or an actor that I do know. So I don't know where Richard's name came from, but yes, certainly Timothy Dalton is one of those that's obviously a little bit more well known here in the UK, and I think he's British. I'm assuming that he's British given his accent, or maybe he isn't and he just does a fantastic English accent. But anyway, between the three that Orlando gave me there to choose between, I can't choose between them, so I can't give an answer to that. Thank you for that, Orlando. And let me just jump into the PayPal window before we finish, and let me get that up on screen for you guys so you guys can see as well. So let me just scroll up, because Patricia donated £2 as well. So thank you for that, Patricia. And it's quite a long message, but let me quickly get through it. Hi, Phil. We've lost some great artists the past couple of years. Some to age, the passing of time. We remember tragic plane crashes, suicides and overdoses. But can we just stop and realise the horrid toll cigarettes have taken on great music? George Harrison, Eddie Van Halen and Tom Petty, just to name a few. Guys, stop the cigs, please. So thank you for that, Patricia. And this is again another topic that you could talk for years about. But coming from my sports science background and my background as a personal trainer when I was 18, 19 years of age, just smoking in the first place, just inhaling smoke. To me, I don't think I would need to know about nicotine and the addiction side of things. Just inhaling smoke, I'd probably think, well, that's not a very good idea, or at least it doesn't seem like a good idea or something you should be doing. But I know that back in the day, in the 60s and the 70s, it was more of a symbol. And even earlier than that, where it was almost a status thing to smoke a cigarette, and it was seen as something that if you are doing very well in life, you smoke your cigarettes and cigars, and you'd have, like on the Titanic, where they all went off after dinner for their cigars afterwards. All the male contingents went off, or the male contingent of the meal, they'd go off to have their cigars and talk about business and all male things that the women aren't privy to. But it was a status thing, and sadly a lot of people got into it, and therefore, because so many people are into it, the government makes so much money from it. And they didn't ban it because the government makes so much money from it. It's the same here with gambling. Everyone knows that gambling's addictive, and people have literally lost their lives, but they lose their lives as well in terms of losing their house and everything because they get addicted to gambling. But it makes the government so much money that they don't ban it. And what they say is, be better aware, and that's just a little symbol that they put on the adverts, but they know that it's addictive, so even putting that doesn't stop people from betting. And my advice would just be, don't start betting. That's something that I've never bet anything. The only thing I've ever bet on is when somebody gives you a free bet. So I just bet on it, and if you win, great. If you lose, great, because it wasn't your money anyway. So I'm not one of these people that gets kind of dragged in. I know how the brain works as well, so I know that it's addictive, so I've never even started it in the first place. But with cigarettes and all that kind of stuff, now they put the messages on the packet just saying about lung cancer and throat cancer, but all the cancers that are markedly induced but increased in terms of the chances of you getting cancer by smoking. So the problem is, nicotine is addictive. So you're trying to stop an addictive drug, which is a hell of a difficult thing to do. So I don't envy anyone who started smoking and is trying to quit, because it must be really, really tough. So just my only advice would be, if you are young and you're watching this, just don't start. That goes for betting and smoking. They are addictive, and addictive things are very difficult to then pull yourself away from because they are addictive. That's the clues in the title. But anyway, yeah, I would say, yeah, just don't start. I think I was very lucky as well that at school I didn't have any friends who were putting pressure on me. I mean, I remember one day there was, actually it was in the evening, there was a school function where a group of guys that I was friends with but not best friends with, they were smoking a cigarette, or they were smoking cigarettes, plural, and they offered it to me, and I just said, no, I don't want it. So yeah, I wasn't going to be pressured into doing anything. So I'm sure that if you started smoking at school, then yeah, that addiction is going to set itself pretty strongly in your body at such a young age. So fortunately I refused at that point, but I think that was to do with probably the fact that I was into sports and I knew that it wasn't a very good thing, and I thought inhaling smoke isn't a good idea for me and getting fitter and getting better at football. Like I wanted to potentially be a footballer when I was older. So anyway, thank you for that, Patricia. And yeah, this has turned into a little bit of a public health announcement at the end. But I mean, having said that, we have a whole new health thing going on with COVID. So as I always say, whether it's smoking or COVID or just illness in general, try and stay safe. Follow your government's guidelines. I always say follow those. Wear masks if they are suggesting that you wear masks, and if they offer you the vaccine and you think it's something that you want to do, I think it's certainly something that we're being suggested to do here. It seems to be a lot better from the studies to have the vaccine rather than get COVID instead of the vaccine, because COVID seems to be totally random as to what's happened, even with the younger generation getting long COVID, which means, I mean, there was a teenager who literally just gets tired from walking, and that's all they can do every day is just walk to the kitchen, and then they are done for the day in terms of their energy because they've got long COVID. And that was somebody in their teenage years. So yeah, you think, well, probably better to get the vaccine, certainly from what the government is suggesting here. But like I said, stay safe and keep your distances if that's what your government's telling you as well. I'm going to be back again on Saturday night with another live stream, and I'm going to be back with another video tomorrow night. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. We're going to be pushing forward with the videos as always, one on Wednesday night and Friday night, and then the other live stream where we'll have another Lucky Pick Roulette winner. And congratulations to Brooke for winning tonight, and hopefully I'll see you guys on Saturday night, and if I don't see you live then, hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday. So have a great rest of the week, you guys. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!